Hey everyone, it's Chris Loud. In this art demo, I'm going to explore how to build intrigue in an intuitive abstract painting using layers and textures. I'm using a limited palette of light olive green, magenta, Naples yellow, Mars black, and titanium white. I'm starting off by putting some of the magenta and Mars black down on the surface. I'm not worried about mixing. I'm just kind of letting those mix on their own, and I'm using a silicone bowl scraper to spread that around and then loosely drying that and very quickly drying that. So I'm going to put down some acrylic skins, which I've peeled off my palette. If you're not familiar with acrylic skins, I have a video on that. I'll leave a link to that in the description. But it's basically dried acrylic paint peeled off of a palette. So I'm fixing that down to the paper with a matte gel medium. And the paper I'm using is Canson watercolor paper that is 140 pound or 300 GSM. And I have it taped off to 8 by 8 inches. I'll leave all of the materials I used in this video in the description below if anyone's interested in that. So creating intuitive abstract paintings is about trusting our instincts and letting each step inform the next. There's no predetermined plan, just reacting to what's in front of us and curiosity guiding us along. So what does intrigue mean? It means to arouse the curiosity or interest in something. So for artists, that's a pretty big word. I mean, in a nutshell, isn't that what we're trying to do with our art? I mean, maybe not the only thing, but I think most of us want people to be curious about our art and take interest in it. So as I'm trying to find the direction this painting wants to take me in, it goes off in several directions that just don't feel quite right. And you'll see I really don't find that direction until the last couple minutes of this video. I actually wasn't sure I was going to find the direction, but in the end, I think I figured it out. And at the end of the video, I'll show several close-ups of the final piece so you can see the texture. And I'll show you the final piece as well, which I did tweak a little after I stopped recording, and I'll show those in different orientations. So you can see I use some bubble wrap to create a little bit of texture and both a little physical and visual texture. And at this point, just really kind of putting paint down, trying to find where I was headed with this. And along the way, I found, there were some great little textures and things I did that I really liked. But like I said, nothing at this point was feeling quite right. So building intrigue in an abstract painting, it involves creating visual interest, like I said, curiosity, and maybe an emotional connection, one that invites the viewer to look longer and engage deeply with our artwork. So some effective strategy for doing this are things like layering, which is a big part of what I'm doing on this painting. And you'll see multiple layers that I put down. Layers suggest hidden depths, and that invites viewers to look closer. So we can use transparent glazes or collage elements or overlapping shapes to reveal bits of earlier layers that might hint at the painting's history. Another way to create that intrigue is with textural contrasts. So texture naturally draws the viewer in, which encourages a kind of tactile curiosity. And we could do that with, a mix of thick paint applications like acrylic skins or impasto, with, thin washes, or we could incorporate various mediums like sand, paper, or gels for that tactile interest. So you can see that I have all of a sudden some little black bits on there, and I obviously was not recording at that time. But I used that little mesh that I held on the screen and this black water-based spray paint to do that. And I will show that again. More of that will come in here in a little bit. But again, at this point, I'm really reaching. I'm not liking where this is, so I'm just playing and using a little bit of tape and white spray paint to create, again, some interest, just to see if I could find some direction here. So we can also, you know, create some intrigue with a balance of chaos and control, and that's a technique I really like to use with my paintings. Maybe not quite as much on this particular one, but that, you know, those controlled areas balanced by spontaneous marks create kind of that visual tension. So we could do this by letting intuitive, free-flowing marks coexist with, you know, maybe more deliberate, refined areas or shapes. And again, you can see I'm going off in another direction, trying something and you know, not liking what I'm seeing, so I keep moving on. So we could build intrigue with unexpected color combinations, you know, surprising color pairings engage the viewer, which can evoke emotion or tension and interest. We could experiment with complementary colors or pair muted tones with sudden vibrant pops. And I think that works really well to pull the viewer's eye in. So another way is to use open-ended shapes and forms, which I'll utilize at the end of the video. So ambiguity like that allows viewers to interpret our work in a more personal way and kind of pushes them to find meaning through their own thoughts and experiences. And we can do that by using shapes or lines that hint at recognizable forms, but still remain abstract enough to stir curiosity. So at this point, I'm starting to go with some more neutral colors, and oddly enough, I started to feel like that was a better direction than where I was going. However, the painting right now looks muddy and kind of a mess, so I still wasn't exactly sure where I was headed, but I felt like I was beginning to dip my toe in the pool and feel that the water felt good. So I was going to kind of keep working in this direction. So I think intriguing composition is also a great way to build that kind of that dynamic, engaging quality of paintings that really create an interest for the viewer. So, you know, a strong, unusual, or asymmetric composition might capture attention and encourage exploration of that piece of art. So we might experiment with off-center focal points, the rule of thirds, or unconventional arrangements. So another way is with contrast and value. So high contrast between lights and darks creates drama and depth. And that, you know, we create focal areas by strategically placing bright highlights next to darker shades or muted areas. Another one that's kind of fun is including hidden elements, kind of a bit of mystery. So, you know, subtle or hidden elements also, you know, encourages prolonged viewing. You know, you add, you know, small details or delicate marks or text or, partially obscured collage elements for discovery. So here I'm using that piece of mesh again and a little spray paint. And as soon as I put that down, I started feeling like I had some direction, and that this was starting to go somewhere. So like I said, I'll show you the final piece, and I think the final piece really kind of worked out well. Right now I'm putting some charcoal down just to give a little bit of illusion of a couple of shapes here. But you'll see with the final piece that I really brought that out. I added a little bit of Mars Black paint and worked the form a little bit more. So here's some close-ups. You can see the texture in there. So if you like this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more videos like this, feel free to subscribe. And as always, if you have any feedback, best practices, or questions, I'd love for you to leave me a comment. If you see anything in these orientations, any of these orientations, I'd love for you to leave me a comment with what you see. So thanks for watching, and keep on painting.